Welcome, everyone. My name is Dave Reed. I am happy to normally would say be with you. Obviously, this is virtual. I'm looking outside my home office window right now, outside of Nashville, Tennessee, watching the rain pour down. Happy to be inside, hopefully helping our speaker, trainer, coach, entertainer friends to take advantage of this COVID downtime, which we'll talk about here in a second. My name is Dave Reed. I am in charge of the technology here at eSpeakers. I deal with the products. I help make the products that make speakers more successful. I'll share with you our mission statement here at eSpeakers, just so that you'll know where my motivation is, where our corporate motivation is. Our mission here at eSpeakers is that we know that when the right speaker gets in front of an audience that needs them, that there is a kind of magic that happens. And individuals improve and organizations improve in long-term ways. And so our mission here at eSpeakers is to help that happen more often. And that's how we do our bit of good in the world, is by helping you, speakers, to do your bit of good more often. And so I hope that what I share with you today will help with that. I want to thank Sharon Weinstein for suggesting this. Sharon and I did a session for some Canadian speakers a couple of weeks ago. And when we got off the session, Sharon said, Dave, some of the things that you showed in that presentation, I've been an eSpeakers member for a long time, but I didn't know that I could do that with the account that I have. So she thought it would be a cool idea to just share a few of the things that I notice our customers, even longtime customers, not taking advantage of in the eSpeakers account that they have. And I recognize that some of our viewers here today will have our basic account, which they are probably getting through a National Speakers Association. Some will be at our plus level and some at our pro. The features and tricks and tips that I'm sharing today span across all of those different access levels. Some are available in basic, some require a step up. This is an educational session, not a sales session. So you won't hear any sort of sales today, with one tiny exception, I guess. At the very end, I will share with you a promo code that if you decide that you want to step up, I'll save you some money. And that's the extent of the sales that we'll do today. It's all education. So I hope that works out all right for everybody. All right, let's get going. We're going to move quickly. One of the things that Sharon pointed out was that this is actually a great time to do a session like this because we're all a little slower than we normally are, or we're a lot slower. We've got some time when we're not on the road. We have an opportunity to focus on the business instead of being busy in the business. And that's really valuable. The NSA did a study a few years ago that found that of speakers who fail out of the business, they wind up not being professional speakers anymore. One of the leading causes of that was not their content, it wasn't their platform skills. One of the leading causes of failure in the speaking industry is failure to run your business the way that it needs to be run. It's not a given, and there are things that need to happen. And so having some downtime to focus on your business, to get your processes in place, is a good thing. And I hope, again, that what I shared today will help with that. This is a couch. This is a couch that was bought by 3 college students in New York from a Salvation Army. I think they got it for like 40 bucks. They needed something for their apartment. They didn't have much money. This one fit. They didn't like it that much, but it worked. They got it home, sat down in it, watching TV, noticed that there was something kind of crinkly in one of the cushions. So they got up, opened the cushion, and found a bubble wrapped envelope inside. And inside that bubble wrapped envelope was $1,000. Not bad, right? They just covered the cost of that couch and then some. So they figured that where there's one envelope with money in it, there might be a second. So they keep digging through the cushions and they find a second envelope with cash in it. And they keep digging and eventually find $40,000 in this old Salvation Army couch that they didn't have any idea. There's a picture of one of the students sitting there with this big pile of cash. So my hope with that story is that you'll feel a little bit like that today. This eSpeakers account that you've had, you've looked at it, you've sat on it, didn't realize maybe that there were some hidden gems inside of that couch that you weren't taking advantage of. And I hope that you'll discover those today and feel like this girl with the pile of money in front of her. We're going to talk about calendar marketing. We're going to talk about CSP tracking. We're going to talk about advertising that you can do virtual events, which is really important right now. We're going to talk about automating your business, and we're going to talk about giving your customers a 2020 style experience with you. We're going to just spend 3 or 4 minutes on each one of those. We're going to move fast. I've got a lot of show and tell, not a lot of slides. So let's get going. First item up is calendar marketing. This is one of the big overlooked things that speakers can do that will help with your search engine placement in our directories. There's not an obvious connection between those two things, but having a current calendar in eSpeakers moves you up the directory search rankings a lot. Let me show you how that works. Get the right window here. If I go, let me reset something here. If I go to an eSpeakers directory, like our eSpeakers Marketplace directory, and I want to find speakers who speak on sales. So I'll choose Speaks on Sales. That's going to narrow down my list to about 1,500 speakers. The way our computer figures out who should be shown first in this list and who should be shown lower in the list is that it gives you a score. Every speaker in our platform has a score. The higher the score, the higher up in the search results you get. That means you're going to get more impressions and more views on your profile. One of the big contributors to your score, this is what a lot of speakers don't know, is having a current calendar. Out of 100 possible points, it accounts for up to 20 of those points. That's a big chunk. The rest of the points, incidentally, are the more content that you have in your profile that is useful for meeting planners, because that's who we are trying to help with this side of our site. The more content you have that's useful to event organizers, the higher your score. And having a calendar is one of those things. If I do an availability search, say I need a speaker who's available on June 24th, now I am looking through a batch of speakers. And because I have searched for a date, it's showing me, let me put that away, it's showing me availability. Available June 24th, available June 24th. If your calendar is current in our system and you don't have an event on that day, then it knows it can display this tag that you're available June 24th. Now, let me scroll down here just a little bit. We're going to find a bad example, and I hope this person isn't on the call today. I'm not picking on anybody, but you see here, call for availability. That's what happens if you just don't have a current calendar in the system. And if you think about it, if you're shopping on Amazon and you got 5 products that are all competing with each other and pretty close in your mind, 4 of them say in stock, available tomorrow, right? And one of them says, well, you got to call a company to find out if there are any on the shelf. You're pretty likely to go with one of the other 4 that you know is available. So having your calendar in eSpeakers is great for your search, your directory search engine placement. All right, a couple of other things that having a calendar does for you. It powers this, we call it Speaker Radar. We used to call it Dinner with a Friend. It was invented by our founder, Art Berg, when he got to Hawaii for a speaking engagement, had to get there a couple of days early, wound up having dinner in the hotel by himself, lonely, room service in his room a couple nights in a row. He found out later that one of his good friends, Keith, had been in the same hotel the same days, having dinner in his room, lonely, alone, 2 floors up from where Art was doing the same thing. So this Speaker Radar watches speakers' calendars. You can opt out if you want to, but as long as you allow it, it will show you speakers who are going to be traveling to the same cities that you are, give you a chance to reconnect or make some new connections there. And having a calendar in eSpeakers powers that. Your calendar in eSpeakers also powers access to these free local lead pool leads. When you put an engagement on the calendar with a city, our system will pull from a pool of tens of thousands of leads for association meeting planners, corporate meeting planners, speakers bureaus, chambers of commerce, and we will give you some of those leads for the area that you're going to speak in. Now, I know right now you're speaking from your home, but that will change. And when we're back on planes and showing up places, you need to be ready to hit the ground running and to rebuild that volume for your business. And this is a great way to do it, again, powered by your speaking calendar. Just one last thing on here, and that is that one of the reasons that speakers don't keep their calendar current in eSpeakers is that they're using it as a second place to keep their calendar data. They're keeping it primarily in their Google Calendar or their Apple iCalendar, and they don't want to do double entry. They see eSpeakers as a second place they would have to keep that. Well, you don't have to do that. Here's the secret. If you put your speaking engagements, now you don't have to put your doctor's appointments, violin lessons, and dog nail trimming appointments in here, but put your speaking appointments into eSpeakers first, and it will sync out and push those out to all the other calendars where you need it. It'll push it out to your Google Calendar, your Mac Calendar, to your phone, to Outlook, almost anything using the iCalendar standard. If you need help with that, call in. We can help you get that configured. So you put your speaking engagements in your eSpeakers calendar first and only, and they flow out from there to your other places, while at the same time doing all the good things that I've just showed you. All right, next up, CSP tracking. Now, if you are a member of a National Speakers Association, you're probably familiar with the CSP. It's the Certified Speaking Professional, the highest earned designation in the speaking profession. And not a lot of speakers get it. One of the reasons for this is that the application process is hard. It requires meticulous data tracking for years, and then you have to assemble that into a very specific format. And it's a painful process that many speakers who could otherwise qualify don't go through just because that's so difficult. Well, we wanted to help more of our customers get CSPs if they want to. And so we built in a couple of things. The first is that as you manage your business with our specialized calendaring system called EventCX, which if you have any account with us, you've got access to this. You keep your speaking calendar in EventCX, and as you do, you're naturally gathering all the data that you'll need later if you decide to apply for the CSP. There's no extra work involved there. And then when it is time to apply for the CSP, or actually let me back up. When you are just curious how far along you are, there hasn't been a way to do that. But a couple of years ago, we rolled this beauty out, the CSP Progress Report. There's never been anything like this, and there's nothing else that can help you get your CSP faster than this. This report is a couple of mouse clicks away. And every month, every week, if you want to, you can click those mouse clicks and view your progress report towards CSP. Our suspicion is that a lot of our customers are much closer to achieving their CSP than they may realize. This exposes how close you are and does something else important too. When we designed this progress report, we worked with the NSA staff who process CSP applications. And we identified with them the 8 most common reasons that they reject CSP applications, which means you have to apply again next year and pay again. So we distilled down those 8 most common reasons that applications are rejected. We taught our computer how to watch for those problems, and then we programmed those into this progress report. So you see this list of checkboxes coming down the screen here. All you need to do is work toward getting all of these green, and your application is I'm not going to use the word guaranteed, but it's got a really high success rate when you finally submit it to the NSA. And when that time comes, submitting it is a matter of clicking this button right here. You click download Excel file. Our system prepares your last 10 years worth of data in the NSA's required specific spreadsheet format. You download that Excel file, you attach it to your application, send it in, and Bob's your uncle. So that is a radically better way, easier way to track and apply for your CSP than has ever existed. All right, CSP tracking. Here's the next thing we want to talk about. Advertise your virtuality. This one's pretty current eventsy. Obviously, event organizers, and we're seeing this as we help event organizers find speakers online. They're looking for speakers who can present virtually, remotely. And our sense, obviously nobody can predict the future. Our sense is that virtual presentations are going to be a significant part of your work for the next year. On-site events, we're starting to hear from some of our customers, even just the last couple of weeks, we're starting to hear from some of our customers that they are getting booked for on-site events later this fall, September, October. And so those are starting to come back. But I think that that remote events, virtual events, are going to be a significant part of your work for the next, up to a year as it phases out. And honestly, even after on-site events are fully back in swing, our expectation is that there will be a residual increase in virtual events because so many organizations have discovered that they're a pretty good way to do things in certain circumstances. So to make sure that you are found as a virtual presenter, there are a couple of things that you need to do. I'm going to demonstrate those for you here. If I can pull up the right tab. Here we go. I am in my profile editor. You're probably familiar with this if you have an eSpeakers account. I'm going to go into edit your profile. Uh-oh, it's been sitting here long enough that I've got to sign back in. Stand by. All right, I'm going to go into edit your profile, and I'm going to go onto the programs tab here on the left. And what you've got to make sure is that this checkbox right there, virtual presentation, you need to make sure that that is on and then click save. That will tag your profile as someone who presents virtually. The other thing that you can do is to go into your programs. If you add a new program, or you can go back into your existing programs listed here and edit them. Within each program, you can now tag that program as deliverable, as a keynote, as a breakout, as a trainer or seminar leader. And as of recently, you can tag it as a virtual presentation. So for this presentation, which this is a sample account, but this one's called Selling Proposition. If I can deliver this as a breakout session, as a keynote, and as a virtual presentation, then I would check all three of those boxes and click apply. So with those two things in place on my profile, I will now be found when someone chooses the new virtual event type in their speaker search. So you can see now I am going from 1,500 speakers who speak on sales down to 183 who have tagged themselves as with the virtual tags that I just showed you. So this is a great opportunity. Event organizers are looking for virtual right now. Make sure that you are tagged that way so that you get found. All right. Oh, and if you want to take virtual a step further, I encourage you to go through our certification process and become a certified virtual speaker. You can see here on these search results, a couple of these speakers are certified virtual, and their tag, I'll just pick on Scott Friedman here, their tag shows up differently in the search results, and they get a new virtual tab right here that shows their virtual proof video. The certification is a 30-minute process that you go through with one of our certifiers live. And we take a sample of your virtual video there. There's Scott's. We won't play that. You can identify that you have different fee range for virtual. And then here's the results of your virtual certification report right here. And so getting certified is a step up. If you're interested in that, just Google for certified virtual presenter, follow the links there on eSpeakers, and you can get that booked. It's just a 30-minute session. All right. Next up, automate your business. There are a lot of chores in the speaking business. There's a lot of busy work. If you're doing things right, there's a lot of busy work in the speaking business, a lot of chores. Some of these chores are more important than others. Some of these chores, if you screw it up, will get out, will get the story of your screw up will be passed from meeting planner to meeting planner, which you don't want. You want good stories to be passed from meeting planner to meeting planner. So you want to prevent disasters. You want to do things in a way that just impresses the heck out of your customers. And more importantly, when you automate, you're returning some hours every week that you can then use for things that will build your business. You think about what you would do with 5 hours a week back. There are customers you could reach out to that only you can do the best job with those customers. There are books. What would 5 hours on your book do for you? What would 5 hours on your new content do for you? What would 5 hours toward converting some of your on-site content to being great in a virtual environment? These are all ways to move the short end of the lever in your business, as long as you're letting our automation handle some of this busy work for you. And I want to show you briefly what that looks like. On each of your events in Event CX, there is an action list. And this action list is a list of all the things that need to be done for this event. And you probably, if you're not using the action list already, you've got this list somewhere else. You're keeping it in a spreadsheet, you're keeping it in an online to-do list, generic task list app. But it's when you do it inside of eSpeakers connected with your calendar, we can do some really magic things that make your life a lot easier and return those hours back to you. I want to show you how to customize your master list. First of all, I will note here along the left-hand side of my screen that I have different types of lists. So I've got the standard list, which I use for my normal keynotes. I can have a web event list, which the items for a web event are quite different than the items, and some in common, but a lot of difference between what I do for an on-site event. Maybe I've got a 3-day workshop. That checklist, that action list is much different than a keynote or a web event. So I can have several different types of action lists here along the left, but we're going to look at our standard list today. When I go to build out this master action list, it then applies to all my events. If there's a new thing that I need to do, for instance, I need to ask for referrals after the event. And I can choose what event stage triggers this. For instance, I don't need this for a canceled event or for a held or a lead, maybe for a held, but this action item is going to apply for a confirmed event, and it will be triggered automatically anytime an event enters the confirmed state. Well, when's this item normally due? I can trigger this to happen before the event starts, after the event starts, or after the event becomes confirmed. For instance, I might want to make sure that my contract is sent out within 2 days after the event becomes confirmed. But in this case, I want to ask for this within 7 days after the event starts. So I'm back home and I want to make sure that I go and ask them for a referral. That's a great way to build my business. Who's normally responsible for this? Well, in our office, that's Hannah. Hannah normally does this work for us, and so I would do that, click save. And now for every event going forward, as it enters the confirmed state, go back here. For every event going forward, as it enters the confirmed state, an item will happen on here that says ask for referrals. It will be dated properly and assigned to Hannah, who will get an email that morning saying, hey, Hannah, it's time to ask for referrals for the Husky Bag Company event, so that no balls are dropped and you never have to worry about anything. So that is business automation. We've got customers who have used our platform for many years and are surprised that it can do that for them. And so hopefully if you're one of those, your eyes just opened up wide and you'll be able to take advantage of that now. All right, last item. Give your customers a 20/20 experience. If you are still interacting with your customers in the same way you did back in the 90s, you're going to find yourself with fewer and fewer of them. Customers today expect to be able to do business with you online. And if you will do business with the way they want to do business, you will find yourself with more and more of them. So the customer portal, and most speakers don't have a way to do business online because it's incredibly expensive to hire developers and build something. We've given you a way to look like $1 million without spending quite that much. Our customer portal is a feature that we added a few years ago, and it allows you to give your customers, it's on the contacts tab in your event. Every event has got a unique web address. You give this web address to your customer. Their email address is their password to get in. So there's some security in there. Not anybody can. But you give them this unique web address for their event. They get in with their email, and it looks like this. As they sign in, they can see that it's their event, what the date is. Here's you as the speaker. This contact us link actually takes them back to your website. But your customer is able to get in and have the confidence of knowing what you know about the event. This is all tied into Event CX. It's all live in real time. So they know that you know that the audience size is 5,000. That gives them comfort and confidence. They can see your travel plans as you add your flights and your hotel and your ground transportation. They're able to see this. One note on this, all of this information is configurable. You can choose what you hide, what you show. You only show the pieces of information that you want to. The rest is hidden. You can even decide to let them, the customer, update certain fields. So for instance, if they know that the room has changed from Husker B to Doodle 7, the customer can make that update, click Save, and you just got an email notification that the customer made a change, and it is also updated here within just a few minutes on the, oh, I want to go back here. Anyway, I'm not going to dig in and show it, but your event gets automatically updated for you, and you get an email notice letting you know that that happened. It's also reported here in the notes of the event. There you go, change the room from Husker B to Doodle 7 as a note, and it just popped in. The room is now changed to Doodle 7, and there's an email sitting in my box. So the client portal, let me just go back to that. The client portal is a great way to make the customer feel like you're on their team. You want to do business with them. There are other things they can do. It's we're integrated with Google Forms, so you can collect your pre-event questionnaire through your client portal. And that's a really easy way for them to fill it out and for you to collect it. Anyway, customer portal, great way to do business like it's 2020 instead of the 1990s. All right, it is 11:30. I nailed the time. And I'm not sure if there were any questions. I asked my business partner, Joe Heaps, to kind of watch the comments. Joe, if there were any, feel free to chat those over to me right now. If there weren't, then we will wrap up. And I hope that you had hope that you found a few hidden gems here, that you feel like the girl with the money from the couch, and that this was useful for you. And great speaking. This is a weird year. We're gonna make it through it. Wish you the best. Thanks.